Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So something that has always fascinated me, absolutely always fascinated me, is how communities, and I hate using the word communities because it's a word that's been so bastardized by the Twitter crazes that have taken over the world. But communities of people, like nations, like large swings of people, act like individuals in terms of mental illness and mental health, and it's really absolutely fascinating. I first saw this. I first came to this conclusion, I would say, about 5-10 years ago. I live in Israel. I'm actually a real rabbi. It's like, it's not a shtick, right? Well, I'm using the word shtick. I think that proves I'm a rabbi right there. Anyway, but this is so. I live in Israel, and everything's politics. Like politics is crazy. I mean, no, let me get this straight. Politics is crazy where you are, okay? Politics is insane, especially you live in Canada, so hope you enjoyed that freedom. that like 1,000-year experiment of democracy and freedom. That's over. But yeah, politics has overtaken us here in the rest of the world. It's overtaken us in Israel, from Israel. We used to be the crazy place, right? We used to be the place where it's completely freaking insane. Now it's you guys. We haven't changed. You just got a lot crazier. But anyway, I digress. It was about 5-10 years ago. There was in Israel, the idea is everybody does like a national service. Basically because we're surrounded by people who all really want to kill us, right? Really super want to kill us. So we do national service, and it's like a nationwide thing. So there's a section of the ultra-Orthodox community called Haredim, who their kids were exempt from that, because they were studying in rabbinical seminaries, which is like being a religious fanatic. I actually support, right? Because I think that does protect the country as much as anything else. But of course, these things are open to abuse, and that's really what happened. So after many years of tensions between different factions within Israel, that army, a new government came in, and that army exemption was taken out. Was attempted to take away. It never really did. And honestly, I think it probably would have been a good idea if it went through. But anyway, I digress. I saw the way people reacted to that, depending where you were in your social spectrum. Honestly, I saw that ultra-Orthodox community act like mental ill health, right? Act like they're experiencing mental ill health, and they absolutely did, right? Now, I've seen this a lot of times more since then, especially since 2015, 2016. Let's take our little place here in Doctor Who, our little niche here in fandom. We were just sitting around quietly watching Peter Capaldi, and all of a sudden, and we were grumbling, as Doctor Who fans, it's not as good as it used to be, we'll do it. Like Doctor Who fans do, right? We grumble, right? And we like grumbling. And we like disagreeing, right? Oh, you like Hartnell, you're right. We like grumbling. It's just what people like to do. And then there's a whole bunch of crazy people turned up who were, based around Jodie Whittaker, and not because they particularly liked her. I think because they liked the agenda that she brought with her, and they then strenuously denied there was an agenda. No agenda, and you are the biggest. They're crazy, right? They are crazy. I think that's they acted like crazy people. Why? Because they're freaking crazy. They are crazy, and they're getting crazier. Now, in their defense, I think Donald Trump and Brexit twisted them into insanity, but they were doing pretty good to start with, right? I really think so. So we in the same part of fandom, we were just sitting around watching Doctor Who go. We were wondering, like, when is reality ever going to set in? Like, reality that this era of Doctor Who has been an absolute failure. It was an absolute failure because it was never meant to entertain. It was always meant to be an agenda-driven thing, and they just didn't have the talent to pull it off. So I think, we have metric after metric after metric comes out saying that it is an absolute failure and the British public have rejected it. And in general, we see The public rejecting media narratives all over the world right now, right? Again, look at Canada. Blows my freaking mind. It absolutely, the Canadians falling to fascism. That just, man, my mind is melting. At the same time, there's not going to be a war in Ukraine, apparently. Okay, so that apocalypse is over. Well, yeah, so we got this one instead. So we've been like, when's reality gonna set in? When's reality gonna set in? And the truth is, reality sets in slowly, but much like the oncoming of mental illness. Normally, it happens slowly, and then boom, all at once, right? How do people get better? Slowly. So that's what this video is. We're looking at. I would say the normie media who have been insane, right? Been absolutely insane. First come to the start to come to acceptance that this has not gone, not gone very well. Has not gone to plan, right? And then we'll see how they work through it. And again, I just find it fascinating because the amazing thing is, I'm sure you can have a niche anywhere in the world, right? A knitting fandom apparently was one of the first places that these crazy people invaded, right? Knitting. I wonder what it's like knitting fandoms like today. But I'm sure from wherever you are, where it was like this holistic, going across the entirety of society, you're going to be able to see it from your own perspective. Let's look at it from the Doctor Who perspective. Before we get into it, hit the like button. That'll be fan-dammy double dose. Hit the share button. Hit that subscribe button. That is fantastic. I can't guarantee this, but I'm sure the good Lord will rain blessings upon your head to all subscribers, especially, if the apocalypse is coming. As it seems to be coming very fast and very slow all at the same time. Like, it's very, very, very annoying. Who'd have thought the apocalypse would have been annoying more than it? But I'm easily annoyed, in all fairness. Hit the subscribe button is basically what I'm trying to say. If you're on Rumble, hit the Rumble button. Very unimpressive. It's just a little plus sign. Hit the Rumble button and comment. Let me know what you think. I will endeavour to reply to all your comments. Sign up to my Substack, which is an email newsletter, which I'm so behind on. Okay, this week has been a bit of a nightmare. I got to send stuff out to the paid tier because I'm mortified that I haven't. I feel really, really, really genuinely bad about that. But please, if you could sign up to the paid one as well. Even though I'm chipping those accounts. Really, that was a very bad pitch. Okay, let me just tell you, very bad. I do not rate that one highly. Like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. Fine. Let's have a look at this, the first item we're looking at today. Well, Looper is coming to the realization that it hasn't worked out 100% fantastic, right? It's been a little bit dodgy here and there. Why Doctor Who fans are divided over Jodie Whittaker's Doctors. Now, it used to be that they're not divided. They're just a small group of evil, racist, icky-wicky wacists and bigots who hate the stunning wave Jodie Whittaker, right? That was the narrative up until now. Now we're divided. Okay, fine, good. By the way, a new metric on how bad this era of Doctor Who is. Character options. Who, for some insane reason, just announced they're doing a Warriors of the Deep Silurian set. I mean, why Warriors of the Deep? Really? I mean, you might as well got the plasmaroids from Time Flight, the crappiest monsters of all time. Oh no, you want to get really crap? Go for the Paradise Dow's cleaner. Never has there been a less intimidating robot, even with a little swirly cone thing at the end. Why Warriors of the Deep? It's so bad, okay? It's probably one of the worst Davison stories, and I quite like Peter David. How about the Trepalils? They were cool, right? Give me a Trepalil and the robot. Oh, and what's his name? From on the buses. That bloke, right? That would be good, right? That would be good. We could we could have a there's so many companions they haven't done. Warriors of the Deep, really? It's so bad. I don't know. But anyway, so I digress. The point of bringing up character options. People have been going to character options and said, how dare you not release more Jodie era action film. How dare you why? We demand more. Like, dude, we don't even have the license anymore for current Doctor Who, right? We don't, like, they've apparently let the license lapse. Why would that be, right? I wonder, why on earth would that be? Is it because it's super duper successful? I'm going to take a guess. No, I'm going to take a guess. That's one of the other of these many metrics, or one of these many metrics that show this era has been an absolute disaster, right? Absolute disaster. You know what else has been a disaster? I don't know what it is. There must be some kind I got an allergy to something. I've been coughing and sneezing like all freaking morning, right? I just stopped this video so I could have a sneezing fit. It's crazy. So hopefully we'll make it. I didn't even start reading the bloody article yet. God only knows what's going to happen when that happens. So fine, why are Doctor Who fans divided over Jodie Whittaker's Doctor? Well, the real answer is that most of us really wanted to like it, and we don't want to admit it's terrible because we love Doctor Who. Same reason people still, Star Trek fans still watch Star Trek Discovery, which is truly awful, right? Just truly awful. Yes, and we haven't been able to admit it ourselves. Most of us have been able to admit it now, and that's basically where we are. We're not really that divided, right? We're not really that divided. Fine, let's read the article. Doctor Who is one of the most fascinatingly unique television shows that's currently airing. I think ever aired. I would, yeah. It's fascinating unique. Originally, Doctor Who ran from 63 to 89. Okay, well, I will agree there. But before being revived in 2000, revived is the right word, not rebooted, where it made a staple of British television ever since. Doctor Who focuses on an alien time traveler named the Doctor, who comes from a race of beings called, well, used to. Yeah, still does. Comes from a race of beings called the Time Lords. Well, sort of. The Gallifreyans, and some of them are Time Lords. But okay, close enough. They travel through space and time with their revolving door cast of companions, saving the galaxy from other alien threats or going on adventures. Yeah, okay. I like that description of Doctor Who. That I think is accurate. What's allowed Doctor Who to continue running for so many years without worrying about an aging cast is the particularly clever plot device called regeneration. Who came up with regeneration, right? I always wondered that. I'm sure it's written somewhere, but I wonder who was the guy who said, oh, you know what, we're going to change the Patrick Troughton's, it's the same person. But they said rejuvenation at the time, right? It was he's shedding a few hundred years from his, and becoming Patrick Troughton. Without airing for many years. For so many years without worrying about class aging and blah, blah, blah. Whenever the Doctor is close to death, they can regenerate into a completely new physical form. This has led to the casting of many casting changes throughout the years. I think that's actually also the thing that has kept it so incredibly contemporary and cutting edge, right? It's whenever it got stale, a few years later, it rebooted itself, right? I think Patrick Troughton brought a real new dimension to the show and really reinvigorated it, but only lasted a couple of years, and then it started getting tired again. Then Jon Pertwee was so incredibly contemporary. He was the coolest of the cool back then. Tom Baker also redefined it, right? Redefined it as the 1970s Bohemian, giving way to the 1980s Peter Davison, Colin Baker. Colin Baker was so 80s, right? And then it got tired and reinvented again with Sylvester McCoy. For One Night Only, got reinvented with Paul McGann, and it was glorious. Again, very, very contemporary. Then we're on to Ross Lee Davis, very, very contemporary, and reinvented several times, I think. And now it's due for the next reinvention. I mean, they tried to reinvent it with Jodie Whittaker in the most contemporary form possible. And the most contemporary form possible is very bad. That's basically how it works. Very bad is what we call it. This is going throughout the show to explore new actors, new storylines, and new stylistic choices based on the actor portraying the Doctor and the showrunner in charge. The latest incarnation, played by Jodie Whittaker, is the first woman to step into the role of the Doctor. And it turns out her era of Doctor Who has garnered a divisive response from the fans of the show, maybe not for the reasons one would expect. Well, for the reasons you expect is because they're evil, icky, wicky bigots, and that's not the reasons that you would expect. Some fans believe the writing has failed Jodie Whittaker. Also the acting has failed Jodie Whittaker. Most things have failed Jodie Whittaker, right? The on the R Doctor Who subreddit, u/Marty B offered up his opinion. Who cares? I mean, like, okay, well, fine. I'm glad you're quoting that. In an opinion post related to Whittaker's tenure as the Doctor, about how they believe that her casting doesn't actually empower women. It doesn't. That's actually the real truth. It doesn't empower women. Just like most of these, how would I describe them? Most of these, what's it? Identity politics castings, right? Most of these identity politics castings are normally terrible. But normally don't work, right? And they don't empower the people they say they're going to empower. They empower the white liberals who read The Guardian, who want to feel good about themselves. I don't think there's anything you can see that any more than in the HBO version of Watchmen, which had some absolute brilliance in it, right? Absolute brilliance in it, wrapped with absolute politically charged racist garbage. Absolute racist garbage. A lot of this critique boiled down to the writing choices for her version of the Doctor by showrunner Chris Chibnall, mainly because in this person's opinion, it relied on gender stereotypes instead of remaining true to the character of the Doctor. What gender stereotypes? I'm interested to hear his opinion. In my Doctor, the Doctor should have stayed the Doctor, regardless of gender, and I fear the writing and characterization would change better to suit gender stereotypes. They wrote, unfortunately, this is exactly what happened. They went on to say the Doctor comes off as more of a nurturing mother figure as opposed to sometimes arrogant and often commanding role that male version of Doctor would inhabit. I don't think she's very nurturing. She comes off as an annoying Karen who's an idiot, right? That's how she comes off to me. She acts like an idiot who, I don't know. Certainly not empowering for women, right? She's a conformist idiot instead of being a brilliant, iconoclastic character. They went on to say the Doctor comes off, okay, blah, blah, blah. So still, they agreed that Whittaker had done the best of the material she's been given. I disagree. I mean, the material she'd been given was garbage, right? Absolute garbage. But has she done the best with it? No, I imagine I just imagine Louise Jameson, right? I'm not talking about Helen Mirren. I'm talking like a Louise Jameson, in her prime, right? If she was young today, like in her 30s, 40s today, take on the role, would she have done better? Well, certainly she would have done. Right? She would find the authenticity. I just don't. I think we're letting her off the hook. I really do, because she's done an absolutely terrible job. Still, we see. Look, they can't really start dissecting this and criticize Jodie Whittaker. They're not there yet, right? The first step in any 12-step program is admitting that you're sick, right? Admitting that you have a problem. This is the beginnings of them doing that, right? Let me think. Still, they agree with done best. Others in the thread agreed, like Larry, Larry Two Thumbs wrote, if she'd been casted as Matt Smith, he won't be casted 4+ season Doctor. Writing was marked downgrade from Capaldi's episodes, to say the least. Yeah, listen, what can I tell you, mate? Spider-Man No Way Home would have done good, has done well, right? Well, everything else has done badly. It's because of just the quality, and the quality is the quality is the quality, right? I think it would have been poor. I think she would have done a bad job under Moffat, right? I think she wouldn't have been cast under Moffat. I think she's entirely wrong for the role. She doesn't strike me as being clever enough, okay? And I hate it's mean to say that, but it's also true. She just doesn't strike me as being clever enough. I believe the moral ambiguity of the Doctor has been stripped from the character in the Chibnall's writing. Yeah. And also, it's not ambiguous that she's a terrible, terrible person committing genocide here and there and not helping companions with cancer. Like, it's unbelievable. So it appears that, while many fans appreciated Whittaker's performance, I think a lot of people are saying, no, we didn't. And the ones who are on board are just saying that to themselves. Because it's hard to deal. It's hard to accept this horrible reality. The writing for her incarnation has been underwhelming at best. Well, that is true. That is absolutely true. Is that the end of the story? That is the end of the story, right? Characters who got gross out kissing their co-star on screen. I wonder who I know who he is. Who's she? I can't remember. Okay, never mind. So look, again, this is starting to come to the realization that it's been rejected by fandom, not because fandom are evil, right? It's starting to get to that, right? So here, the next article is from Den Geek. And again, this is coming to terms with the fact that Jodie Whittaker's Doctor has not done well, right? This hasn't gone well. Let's be fair, this has not gone down well. Doctor Who, the 13th Doctor character arc, too little, too late. Well, that is true. That's certainly true. It's not just the Timeless Child arc that made a mystery of who the 13th Doctor is. Her characterization is now coming into focus with 2 episodes to go. I don't even think it is. I just think it's wrapping up, mercifully, thankfully. With 2 episodes left before she regenerates, or does she? Right? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything's happening until I know what's happening. Look, I knew Capaldi was the regenerating Whittaker because they told us. I knew Matt Smith was regenerating Capaldi because they told us, right? And they told us a long time before it happened, right? We are, was it in February now? I'm doing this on February 16th. So what we got? Let's say it's going to be before November. I think September, October time. Let's say that. Okay, let's just say September. So we got 9 months to go, right? 9 months to go. If they were doing a regeneration into the next Doctor, we would have been. I think it would have been announced now. When was the new Doctor going to be announced? My guess, the earliest will be around the Legend of the Legend of the Sea Devils time, right? Around there, right? Yeah, that would be my guess. If it is announced, well, Chris Chibnall is still showrunner. Okay, with 2 left before she generates, we're now starting to see with the 13th Doctor character. Like many Doctors, her whimsy is the front, masking a more serious flaw. In this case, she's a cunt. That's a serious flaw. She's a bit of a cunt. The whimsy doesn't really mask it that well, and she's an idiot. I mean, there's a lot of things I have to mask. Okay. In this case, it's that she talks a lot but says little. Yes, because she's got little to say. She's inactive, preferring to shut people out rather than talk about what's bothering her. She's repeatedly snippy in response to Yaz asking reasonable questions. Like, do you want to make out? That seems pretty reasonable from Yaz's point of view. This started to change at the end of the flux, excuse me, madam, and during the course of Eve of the Dalek. It wasn't good. None of this was good. Which forced her to reach out to everyone in order to save their lives. At this point in the story, though, the development feels too little, too late. Really? You think? What tipped you off, right? What tipped you off on that? Have you ever been in a work situation where somebody insists on everything going through them, but they're so busy or distracted that it takes forever and they never reply to your emails and the office bottleneck? Yes, I do know that. The 13th Doctor is this. Essentially, her arc, it made her arc shallow as a result. Yes, we're only just starting to get to the upward curve of her last few stories, 2 stories, yet she's still deflecting because she's not very good. This means that Jodie Whittaker hasn't had much. This means that Jodie Whittaker hasn't had much to work with during her tenure as a role. Excuse me. She can read the scripts as well as we can watch them, okay? Excuse me. How can I watch a script and go, oh, this is garbage, and her read it and go, oh, if you thought I'll be Doctor Who. Yeah, no. Opposite Alan Cummings, which was really embarrassing in The Witchfinder, or Craig Parkinson, it was pretty good in The Vanquishers. We've seen how good she is playing a relationship with substance. I haven't seen that. Really? Okay. With Yaz, though, the 13th Doctor has been blunt, dismissive since the end of Series 12. The recent developments of not knowing how to deal with romantic love is the first time Whittaker and Mandigill really had something strong to play. It's so cringe, though. It's so unbelievably cringe. As a result, the 13th Doctor characterizations come into focus very suddenly, making it clear how static it felt in the preceding series. That's true. Because that's how they do. They just wedge things in. Like, Yaz has mental illness, and we're going to discuss that. Was it 18 episodes into a run, right? 2 years in. In her first story, the woman fell. I'm missing that. Film preceding series. In her first story, the woman fell to Earth, where it wasn't good, but we didn't know how bad it would be yet. The 13th Doctor character is slightly different to how she'll end up. She does act like the antagonist, tricking Tim Shaw. Oh, so dull. So dull. Tim Shaw into a trap with a view of ending the cycle of violence. Oh, no, it's the cycle of violence. Then Cole, who Tim Shaw was trying to kill, decides to push Tim Shaw off a crane and lets him teleport anyway. I don't know. What? Let them teleport where? I don't remember that anywhere. Okay. Teleport away, not anyway, right? The foundation is the Doctor has tried acting decisively and failed. Who is aware of this happening again? But none of the following stories build on this. None of the following stories build on anything. Do you remember Ryan's dyspraxia? Echoes of the Fifth Doctor. Okay, because there was echoes of the Fifth Doctor in the Tennant portrayal, which she was aware of. That's basically it. Christian was writing his reminiscence on Eric Saywood. Saywood, the script editor on Doctor Who being 82 and 86. Too long. Far superior to Chibnall. Oh my God. Wrote the Fifth Doctor as an idealist in a harsh universe. Yeah, that's a really good description. That is I like that description. That really, really works. Frequently unable to exert enough authority or power in a situation to prevent mass slaughter. There should have been another way. His stories were cynical and violent. It was early 80s. What can you want? Cynical and violent, seeming more interested in gun runners and mercenaries than the Doctor and his companions. Dialogue was frustratingly distant on how people actually speak, feeling more like the show had been shown an AI bot spoof Shakespeare play. Well, you're talking about Pip and Jane Baker. My personal favourite is, that can't be so. A creature strong enough to destroy the probe does not exist from Warriors of the Deep. Well, we're back to Warriors of the Deep. Okay, that's how bad Warriors of the Deep is at character options. That in the middle of this video, they just popped up again and go, oh, that was bad. That was very bad. And I saw, oh God, okay, but talking about Warriors of the Deep, what's her name? I can't remember, famous actress. She did this weird karate kick to the Merker, which looked terrible, and then got zapped and killed. It was so bad. Characters' emotional response are often implausible, such as the minimal reaction to Adric's death. Adric! I mean, they did put more on Big Finish, I guess. Nissa being a bit put out that the Master's destroying her entire planet. Well, they did focus a bit on that on one of the War Master box sets. I think the last one, it was a story by Lou Morgan, and honestly, it didn't really work, right? That kind of emotional, my planet's been destroyed, is depth is a bit much for Doctor Who. Doctor Who, I think. I mean, it deals with heavy subject matter, but, in the end, it's got to be an uplifting, optimistic show, right? They didn't dwell on it much. And again, when they did recently in, I can't remember what the box set it was, it was also one with Joe Grant. It just, for me, it didn't work, right? Or the fact that they're constantly depressed by the horrible deaths they see. There is that. Well, Tegan did leave a couple of times. Frankly, it's remarkable that Tegan lasts until Resurrection of the Daleks. It's not fun anymore. Well, you should have waited around to now, darling, before the constant violence becomes too much. became triggered in this case by the Doctor taking up arms specifically killed Davros, a character she has never met or even likely heard of. However, when Saywood writes Tegan leaving the scene, you can tell she hates. She has the ability to. You can tell that he has the ability to write strong character moments, and wish the show had been more geared towards that. Yeah, that's a pretty darn good point, right? I mean, honestly, I think Saywood, if he was going to stay through Colin Baker, I think he'd stay through laziness more than anything else. I think he should have done much like Russell T Davies is doing right now and reinvented himself, which is what he's doing, right? And make it much more character driven, right? And I think that would have been a good idea, but he just, he just stayed too long. He really should have gone with Peter Davison, but also so should have John Nathan Turner. Bless him. I honestly, if I had a time machine, I wish I could just give him that message, John. Leave with Peter. Say I can't do this anymore. I need to do something. Find another thing. Just like if you could have. What you really should have done is taken an internship and moved down the ladder so he can move into light entertainment, right? He should have really have given up those few years advantage they gave himself in drama because he just wasn't suited to drama at all. And not for nothing, he was absolutely hated by the people, his bosses. Like, when was it Andrew Cartmel? So whenever they walked into the office, you would see like, what was it, Bill? I can't remember. You see that we will see their faces drop. Oh God, it's Doctor Who. And I get it. He should have moved on to something else. Whether on deliberate or not, the Doctor has his ideal crushed and becomes what he hates. He only to redeem himself in this final story. This isn't flagged up by the producers, but the fans have had enough moments to hang on. But to hang an arc on, even if it's unintentional, it's still there and still works. Okay, this is a very good point. Chris Chibnall's writing feels similar, less competent, but he's writing after the Doctor engaged with main characters in what's the word? Interrogatory? Main characters what the hell does that mean? Okay, whoa, okay, stop. We're looking this up. Interrogatory? What? Yeah, there we go. Interrogatory definition. Doink. Let's have a look. Interrogatory, quality being interior or inward. Oh, interrogatory. Okay. That makes sense. Feels like he engaged with the main character interrogatory. No, he just didn't write any. He didn't write any, motivational internal monologues because he can't do that. That's why they seem like, all the motivations are deeply inside because he didn't write any. They're just hollow. And focus on their emotional response to the situation, while Saywood was inheriting a show that hadn't done this before. Like Saywood, Chibnall pushes the narcissism and cynicism to the fore, writes dialogue that's a challenge for actors to deliver. Yeah, I mean, I still can't say the names of half his episodes. The Battle of Rufus who cares? The Villa of Dildo Otti, whatever. Well, by the way, I found a new way of making my daughter completely insane. Don't do this at home, kids. But I'm so proud of her. I'm so insanely proud of her. She's a basket case at home, but professionally, she's very, very together. And she's still in school, but she's got jobs, and she's doing very well. Right, so she's older. She's like 23, and she never learned to drive. And she decided to live at home rather than live by school or live by work, and so she could get a car. So she taught herself that learning to drive in Israel is a big deal and very expensive. They really fleece you. You've got to do X amount of lessons, and it's a racket. So, but she got herself a driver's license, and now she's got herself a car. How on earth did I get on that? Internal monologues. I have no idea how on earth. I will watch this video back.
So I know there's a thought I'm not finishing. Maybe it'll come back to me. We'll find out. The characters don't do so much of evolve as have things happen to them that give fans enough to fill in the blanks of the character. No, because people are writing in huge swathes of story to make it understandable, and it's just not understandable. Yes, for example, as implies she considers suicide in Can You Hear Me? Darling, we all consider suicide in Can You Hear Me? That was a tough one for every Doctor Who fan. Or at least have tried to run away from home when this major life event was never mentioned again, nor informed the character's development. For example, in Revolution of the Daleks, Yaz is sleeping in the TARDIS, but we don't know why a fabulous response is. Like, where's Yaz? No, honestly, no one's ever said that. They're like, where's Yaz? Shut up! She might hear you and come back. Run away. Listen, I would rent out rooms in the TARDIS, quite frankly. If it was me, but we're different people. Her character is based on what the episode needs her to be. In the case of Can You Hear Me, Yaz needs to be a character with mental health problems rather than the other way around. This isn't isolated to her. Yeah, it's called bad writing, right? Bad writing. All John Bishop is amiable screen presence. It's hard to have much sense of who Dan Lewis actually is. Yeah, what's going on with him? Why is he living alone? What's the deal with him trying to date this woman? Why is he a tour guide that he isn't a tour guide? Well, what's going on with this guy? It's weird. It's weird. We know he volunteers in a food bag and goes without food himself. I forgot about that, but okay. But then nothing he does seems to connect to this detail. There's a sense of telling rather than showing. For example, Graham sitting down with Yas to say how great she is, rather than having stories to show us. Yeah, she's just not great. And this approach results in a long, dull exposition scenes. Yes, there is. Such as the Master explaining the Timeless Child story to the Doctor. Nothing was worse than when they had an animated exposition scene. Like, what the hell? That was so bad. I mean, really, that was just so freaking bad. Choose your own characterization. This tactic means the characterization has been mainly left to the fans who are invested. If you're not invested, and frankly, it's easy to see why you wouldn't be. Yeah, because they're not characters. Again, you got to be able to have flaws in people for them to be characters, right? They got to be able to have. They can't be perfect, and they can't make Yaz anything but perfect because she's a brown-skinned girl, so a woman. Yeah, don't say girl, we'll get in trouble. And same with Ryan. I mean, Ryan's a boy, so they made him like the screaming, companion who falls over and twists his ankle all the time. The dyspraxia, never really comes into it at all, does it? Until the last episode where he still has it. Last episode, I should say. So obviously you're not going to invest it, right? You're obviously not invested. Still can't remember why I was talking about my daughter, right? Still can't remember. I have considered stopping the video and watching it and try and find out why, but it's not that important. This extends to the Doctor, like the 5th Doctor, the 13th Doctor has enough happen to that you can extrapolate a storyline. Well, that's the trouble. Okay, with the 5th Doctor, everybody extrapolates the same storyline, right? We have with the 13th Doctor, there's so many plot points you need to put in to make the garbage we see make sense. There's 100 different interpretations. Right, like the 5th Doctor, it's difficult to know how deliberate this was. I don't think much was deliberate, right? I don't think much was deliberate. Well, the 13th Doctor has concepts like letting antagonists go free without consequences. Yes, even Paul Cornell did that in his prequel to the sequel to Family of Blood, Human Nature, Family of Blood, where Jodie's Doctor lets out Daughter of Mine from the mirror for no apparent reason. So I wrote a sequel to that, where she then goes on a murdering spree until the 7th Doctor comes along and saves the day. Right, so that's basically what happens. 13 has blah blah blah. And observing rather than acting, there's more of a sense of joy in her first series before they got the ratings and knew how bad it was. Series 11 has her nerding out over antimatter engines, and it doesn't really work. Like, she doesn't, it's not sell it. And bouncing around like Tigger. Again, she doesn't really know what she's doing. Also, the all-new guest writers for Season 11 deliver strong scripts. Kablam! With a beautiful twist, very well written for the most part. Kablam was the close. I think Kablam could have been a Doctor Who episode. I can't remember the plot, though, but it felt like it was a Doctor Who episode without Jodie Whittaker, right? If you put a different Doctor in, it could have maybe worked, right? That coupled with the lack of returning monsters give Series 11 a freshness that boded well for the future. Didn't bode that well because it wasn't very good, right? It wasn't very good. How a series feels like it's learned all the wrong lessons. Yeah, it was done in panic. It was a panic response to Season 11, right? Gone are the blank slate for jumping onto him, and back come the Master Sidemen and Gallifrey with big changes in the mythos of the Doctor Who. Well, this was always his plan, I believe, right? Yeah, I'm sure that was his plan going on. Going into it. This is always where the characters are feeling like plot functions really need to start to damage things. The Master comes back because the Daleks can't destroy Gallifrey again. This makes the Master a round peg inserted into a square hole. The Doctor doesn't tell her friends about the destruction of her home planet and then gets annoyed at them when they offer help. Strangely, though, the fam do seem to interested in letting the Doctor speak. The family don't seem interested in letting the Doctor speak either. She's snapping at them. Something's clearly wrong, and but she's never really pressed. But they've never pressed her on it. Just reassure her that it'll be fine because they're all friends. Well, hopefully they are. Series 11, blimey, this is a long article. Wow, we got fine. We got that. We got a ways to go. Series 11 mentions the Timeless Child early on. Yeah, but I get the feeling they meant. Yeah, I believe Chibnall probably put that in to pick up a year later. He doesn't really understand that his Doctor Who isn't interesting enough to maintain interest, right? It's like a year later, it wasn't good enough, right? But it's not until Series 12 that we move away from the initially joyful Doctor into this closed-off figure. And it doesn't really work her being this closed-off figure either. I mean, bouncing around is better. Holding on to whimsy like a shield. But there are also possible hints that Yaz being in love with the Doctor. Possible hints? What, like her masturbating to the Doctor's hologram, the Doctor Who flux? I mean, like, that was a bit of a giveaway, really, wasn't it? That was a bit of a giveaway. Again, that was just that was between the scenes, I think. There's also a possibility of being in love with the Doctor. It was impossible to tell if these are deliberately planted or just look that way, respectively. No, I think that was planted because they want to do the stunning and brave same-sex romance with the Doctor. The first story where something feels clearly intentional with the Revolution of the Dalek, where Yaz is absolutely fixated on us finding the Doctor again, but this is 2 years into a story. Either this is a new addition to a character, or it's been subtly deployed. A new addition, or it's been too subtly deployed to register. Okay. Or it just hasn't been done, right? I don't think it's been registered. It's okay. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't think it's been registered. I wanted to be more distant and alien-like, an alien Doctor, because that's how I remember William Hartnell, he said. What's this? Peter Capaldi. Sorry, I missed the paragraph. That's not being planned isn't the problem. The 12th Doctor felt natural, but it was written on the hoof, with his initial character deemed too extreme. Peter Capaldi commented on the character in a Radio Times interview. I wanted to be more distant alien Doctor, because that's how I remembered William Hartnell. Being a kid in Glasgow on a dark winter night, and a strange figure with white hair and slightly irate voice would open up a portal to a magic world. I think they kind of worked that out by season 10, right? Season 9. Because for my money, the Capaldi 3-season arc, which was way too short, is him first days as being Capaldi, him being the Doctor season 9, and him getting ready to die in season 10. Could have done with 2 or 3 more seasons. By the way, if you like me would have liked 2 or 3 more seasons, check this out. Season 13, written by, I keep plugging this because it's right next to me, and I liked it. Like, I really genuinely liked it. 2 seasons worth of Capaldi he's done, season 12 and season 13, and they're all good, right? It's different. It's got its own voice. I might actually record the review for that today, right? I might do that today. That's basically how I roll. If I'm starting to get me get excited, that's probably the direction I like to go in. He added the default is now kind of cosmic imp, which is great, but I wanted to touch that dark winter night, so I'm not sure whether the brand supports that anymore. But that's what I was interested in. Again, I think by season 9 that he really nailed it. It was a different take, and I think it lost a popular appeal because he had less sex appeal than Matt Smith. That's basically what it is. But whenever I say that, all the ladies watching say, you're wrong. He was a sexy man. Okay, whatever. I don't have much gaydar, or not gaydar. I'm not very good at telling who's sexy and who isn't in of my same sex, right? I'm not very good at that. Wait. So when his initial tape proved too much, it was reined in, ultimately bringing him near the cosmic imp, but with a more abrasive take on it. Yeah, I get that. This wasn't a long-term plan, more of the series' ad hoc choices that worked very well. And here's the thing. I think for art to be successful, it's got to be created in a fluid way, in a non-confined way. If you can do that, you can do something exciting and interesting. If you can't do that, you're not going to, in my estimation. Whereas 12 wears the heart on the sleeve, 13th character has only been revealed now in our final few stories. Look, they're making it up as they go. That's the basic bottom line. They're making it up as they go. That's 100% what's going on. It's always been the way they've done it. They've had a rigid plan which they're trying to still execute, but you make up TV as you go, right? And the more that you have stuff that you're not willing to change, the more stale that it gets, which is what I think we're seeing with the 13th Doctor. Not that I call it a Doctor. But only being revealed now in a final few. It's only been revealed now because they're working out to go. It's either because the characterization is being applied retrospectively, and certainly the Doctor and Yaz being in love seems to be like a late addition. I think that was intended, but well, look, Revolution of Darkness was part of the season 12 arc, right? So the season 12 block, so it was certainly intended there. And she was mooning over the Doctor quite a bit, right? Before I don't think it was that out of the blue. It's either because their character has been being applied retrospectively, and certainly love feels like a late addition, or because the choice was made to treat this as a reveal akin to the Master's return. And we know how much this particular production likes plot twists, secrets. And it just makes it boring, right? And boring to watch it and cover it and be excited about it. And like, why were they hiding the weeping angels? We all knew they were coming, right? The former seems more plausible. We know how it happened with the previous incarnation, and it also seems incredibly brave, foolish to reveal the Doctor's character 3 seasons in and invite people to watch the first 2 series back to back with this knowledge. Looking for confirmation patterns. I love humor. Always seeing patterns and things that aren't there. Wasn't that great? See, that's why I love the TV movie. I think they had a lot of stuff in it that really, really worked. Is there any sense of the character? Is there any sense of the character it reveals for the Doctor? Interested, socially awkward. Essentially socially awkward, difficulty possessing change, using whimsy as a mask, is intended as representation of autism. Yeah, I don't know. It would fit Chibnall's other reputation of mental health and physical problems, Wright's fracture, Haynes blindness, it takes you away. Most of the characters struggle with mental health in Can You Hear It? But autism's diagnosis seems unlikely to be revealed in this late stage game. No, okay. The fans of this Doctor, I believe, the toxic fans, I think, they have a form of autism, right? Which is like, understandable if you're around you live around Twitter, right? It's perfectly understandable. But I do, and I think it was trying to reflect that fandom, without saying it out loud, right? Because they don't say it out loud to themselves. It'll be crass to either reveal one or insert a representation now, and the benefits of such veiled reputation will be dubious. Look, the benefits of Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who is dubious. More likely, given the way characters are been given traits rather than personalities. Graham, his cancer. Yaz ran away from. Dan is there. And don't talk about their thoughts and feelings. Note how Ryan's first real one-to-one conversation with the Doctor comes in his last episode. Simply explains the motives for leaving. I'm fed up. I'm gonna go now. Don't blame me, mate. I would have got out of there a long time ago. Rather than feeling organic. The Doctor and Yaz's conversation in recent episodes points towards this being necessary for plot for future episodes. Right. It reveals the character is a fortunate byproduct. Right. And so the frustration of the character come into focus. It's not that the audience shouldn't have to think about television. It's that there is a difference between an author inviting an audience to fill in the blanks and an author essentially handing a blank sheet with a few bullet points saying, fill in whatever you want there. That's so true. That's so true. So listen, this is what we've been saying for years, right? This is exactly, we say, we're not bigots, right? We're not bigots. This is what we've been saying for years. But why is this a big deal? Because they're able to admit it now. And so I find there's only two reasons people admit they're wrong, right? Normally, the three reasons. Somebody has moral character. Okay, that never happens. Never, ever happens, right? Don't expect to see that often in your lifetime. But the two main reasons is because, they're getting better, which is what I think we're seeing now. I think this is healing, like this is healing, or they admit they're wrong. Like, remember when Trump first became president and he said, they bugged me, and all the media went, you silly little orange man. Oh, no evidence. That just came out. That's absolutely what happened. Like Hillary Clinton's absolutely, not personally, paid a company, had a computer firm on payroll that essentially bugged the White House and Trump Tower servers to look for data to form a narrative Russian collusion. They couldn't find it, so they made some up, right? And we all knew it. We all knew it was happening. Everyone on this side of the fence knew it was happening. But they didn't. So why are they admitting it now? It doesn't really matter. Right? It doesn't really matter. That's the other reason people admit things come out, because it doesn't matter anymore. And and I don't think this is where we are. I think this is a healing for fandom is going on, and we're watching it. And I think we're going to see more and more of it as Russell T Davies comes closer and closer, which I'm kind of looking forward to. It might be awful. Russell T Davies' new take might be awful. I'm hoping it's going to be very good. I'm just a crazy optimist. What can I tell you? My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.